Hi all, me again. I know yesterday I said I would do an autistic diary about masking, but I never got around to it. I really wasn't motivated to do it. I'm still not, to be honest with you, but yeah, I want to do a masking video. So, generally, the population of autistic people, girls and women, are better at masking. Generally, from what I understand about masking, is that it's a survival thing. You know, there are more boys, men that get diagnosed with autism, but it is what it is. So, it says here, masking and camouflaging are terms used to describe neurodiverse individuals who seek to hide or minimize their autism traits to fit in with neurotypical world. Individuals with autism, especially who have a history of trauma, frequently feel they need to mask their ASD traits in order to fit in. And that's basically masking. You know, I'm guilty of it. I've masked my traits, my quirks, you know, just to fit in, to survive. I know I had to do it quite frequently whilst I was homeless, which led to a misdiagnosis of psychosis. And, you know, if I'd got diagnosed with autism at a younger age, I think I wouldn't have to mask as much to survive. Masking for me really was, it all is, because I still do it when I walk out the door, walking the dog. It's draining. It's absolutely draining. Takes it out of you, masking does, which can lead to going to down mental health service, mind. Oh, you've got depression, you know, which, yeah, that's acceptable, that's fine. But in some cases, it's deeper than that. And I feel sometimes mental health just be like, okay, we'll just put it down to depression. But in my case, it was quite frequent. I was having quite a lot of burnouts, a lot of depression, and I'm like, and say, for example, I had broken up with a girlfriend, I would act out erratically, very differently to say how a neurotypical person would cope. In my eyes, from my experiences with neurotypical people who have broken up with their spouse, their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, they're depressed for a day or two and they're cracking on with it. With me, I've wasted years in some cases you know, and I just found like I'll be okay masking, shall I say, and then I'll get to the point, I'll be like, oh, and then I'll do it again and again, and it's a vicious circle running around. Sorry, I'm just sending a text. Yeah, so that is really masking, really. For me, I just feel like it's never ending, you know. I'm a father of 4 as well, and every time I go see them, I just dread it. Not because the kids are loud or, you know, my missus opens the curtains. I prefer to sit in the dark, sit in the quiet, and, you know, that's my personal preference. But obviously, kids will be kids, and I've got to adapt to that. But sometimes I feel like I have to mask and not shut the curtains and not to tell the children please be quiet, because it's a sensory overload for me. I I can't hack it. So I mask and pretend everything is okay when it's not. You know, I can deal with the children being loud, but when it comes to lights, I personally rather sit in the dark. And on that topic of the sensory stuff as well, I remember when I was still living with my parents, I was on bottom floor. I used to have bay doors. They were lush. But I used to have my curtains shut all day, every day, spring, summer, winter, autumn. Used to have my curtains shut. And, you know, back then, I wasn't diagnosed. Obviously, I was autistic. I still am autistic. But yet, no one picked up on that, because that is, for a neurotypical person, that is quite unusual to sit in the dark during the day, night. I feel like I'm more alive in the dark than I am, say, at night. You know, sleep is a very big issue for me as well, because some days I could be up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Some days I could sleep all day, up all night. Some days I won't even sleep, you know, and I am considering ringing my doctors and asking him to put me on melatonin, which is quite common for people who are on the spectrum. I know my son, he is a non-verbal autistic child who also suffers from epilepsy, and one of his drugs is melatonin. I've considered just, you know, I crush it up for him and this and that, and there's a little bit left on the side, and I'll just feel like, oh, I'll just go, you know, dab it in my mouth, see if that happens. But that is wrong. I acknowledge that it's the wrong thing to do. The best course of action for me is to see if I can try and get it through my doctors. The whole reason why went through the diagnosis of autism, and the assessment was because of him, really. And I thought, I'm not autistic. I, Someone would have picked it up as a child, when I was a child. But it turns out that I am autistic, and he had inherited it via me, which is not a bad thing. Um, but I just think if I had been diagnosed when I was younger, I think certain things in my life, I have been in trouble with the police. I have a caution. I'm going to tell you straight. Threat of arson, racial abuse, and I got so worked up. I got angry. I was kicking off, and I think that could have been avoided if I had been diagnosed young, and if there was what's the word I'm looking for? If there was some implements in my life in my younger years, to cope better with me kicking off, and I think I could have dealt with that issue better if I was diagnosed earlier. And that's why it's hard for me to get a job, because I still have that looming over me. You know, that's one of the reasons why I kind of do these things, this autism awareness, acceptance, autistic diary things, because the sooner you get diagnosed younger, the better in my eyes, because I can't take that threat of arson, I can't take that racial abuse away. I think what I'm trying to say is that if we get diagnosed younger, great. If we implement strategies to cope better, if we kick off, or if we feel like a meltdown's happening, we kind of deal with it, instead of leading to something negatively. I've only just realised that throughout my late teens, my recollection was 16 up until now, I can't really leave my house without a pair of headphones. Even if it's to my local corner shop, that's like 2 minutes walk. Which is 2 minutes walk, and I feel like that is quite a very good strategy for me if I'm out in public, especially when I do go to see the children, because especially in like London, Paddington, where I look nervous, I look like I'm suspicious, and it has come to the point where I have been stopped a few times because I have a rucksack, a bag, headphones. It looks quite suspicious. And I recall one time that I got stopped at Paddington the day of the Brussels attack, and this was before I was diagnosed with autism. I got stopped by a plainclothes officer, and I always carry my ID and this and that in my bag, a few comics in my bag, my rucksack, my diary, my journal, a pen, my DS, my PS Vita, my diagnosis letter, all that kind of favourite things that I like to carry a bag. And, if I'd known then, I would have been like, look, I'm autistic, here's the letter, here's my ID, can I be on my way? And that's why I'll carry it now. You know, because I am jittery around large crowds. I hate being around people. If there was a teleporting device, I'd just teleport there. But unfortunately, the technology doesn't exist. But trains, you know, you've got to take the train. I don't mind the initial getting on the train and the journey, but it's just the in between that I don't like really, and it cheeses me off, you know. But like I said in the last video, I probably still haven't got over that really. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought I'll drop that for you in there. I haven't really been streaming Assassin's Creed. I have been playing it, I've just been enjoying it more. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'll probably do a TikTok after this video and upload it on here on YouTube. So yeah, enjoy and keep it real. Peace.